Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at Intel. It is time for another update. And this stock has had a quite impressive month. In April, it's done over 100% and it's not looking like it's coming to an end right now. And sure, it might at any point, but so far there is no sign of even an internal retracement. In fact, we are trading at all-time high levels. And sure, the markets are currently closed, but you get the idea. Now, the thing with this structure, we haven't had an internal retracement. We haven't had a confirmation in this entire uptrend. The only real opportunity to buy given by this chart would have been within this blue support zone based on this larger degree 1-2 setup, unfortunately. And it does happen that we don't always get the confirmation, especially within the waves 3, but that is perfectly fine. And if you missed out on this opportunity, I wouldn't worry too much. There are always plenty of opportunities, multiple of them every single week. And in the last few days, we've actually been focusing on the energy play into this whole AI thing. Stocks that could actually deliver even more than what we are seeing here on Intel. Now, for context, on this chart, we could very well be building this wave 3 in a much more direct fashion. I will be tracking continuation to higher prices as long as this uptrend remains alive, as long as we do not get evidence that a more substantial top would be in place. The main expectation is to extend to even higher prices. Unfortunately, given the lack of structure within this overall movement to the upside, we do not have a lot of clarity on the exact count because so many of them are actually possible. I won't even go through all of them, but for example, this could actually be just a wave C of an internal wave 3 in an ending diagonal within a wave C. Perfectly possible scenario. It could be that this is an actual wave 3 ongoing within the large wave 3 and we extend higher and higher for quite some time now. And at the same time, it is quite possible that even within the wave C, even within a larger wave 1, this would be building a 5-way move to the upside within a couple of scenarios that could allow a more substantial top to be quite close. So we won't be going too much through all of these interpretations. Instead, we will focus on the idea of an impulse, which would allow continued upside. So for this structure, primarily, I will track the most bullish pattern. Firstly, on this large degree, this idea of a wave 3 being currently information, an internal extended wave 3 where all of this could have worked out as a series of 1-2 setups realistically. And then internally, we will track even there further extensions because those are technically possible and there are actually very, very few retracements and extremely shallow that do not actually give much information. Now, one more thing before we get into the counts. In the previous video, we did mention the channel that would have allowed a more substantial top to form within this region. Since we have pushed past this channel, we have established a stronger uptrend, a stronger momentum, and this is what allows this to transform into a stronger wave 3 to the upside, even to the point that this initial development could be just a series of 1-2 setups internally. So let's start with the larger count. This idea of a wave 3 being here information, perfectly possible. We actually wouldn't need to extend much higher to consider a top to be in place. And in the eventuality that the larger wave 4 would be starting, the first level of support we would have for such an expectation would be at $81.2. Well, this is one of the opportunities we could be tracking, right? If we start finally a larger correction, because buying into such a movement to the upside could leave you with quite high risk exposure. Imagine you are buying here at $95 and it goes down and down and down, and sure, it might find support here and start continuation to higher prices afterwards, but what if it actually breaks? What if it doesn't hold any of these levels of support? Well, you would either have to take a loss possibly below this interpretation that would be quite bullish for the idea of an impulse. Possibly from $95, you could be looking for more than 30% risk, or you might not even be willing to accept such a loss. You could be thinking it's definitely going to turn around. and it won't, and it goes lower and lower and lower, and you're stuck with your position. Now, we don't want to have that happening. We want to get high risk reward ratio because, yeah, let's say it actually even manages to go higher. You buy at 95, it goes to 110. Are you willing to take the chance for 16% in profit when you would have to take over 30% in risk? That's quite unfavorable if you ask me. Now, if from a smaller time frame, some opportunity can be identified, having more manageable risk where you can take the loss, it could work out. But from this time frame perspective, buying into a wave 3 is generally not going to be a good idea. FOMOing in is not going to be a good idea most of the time. Now, in terms of the actual structure, it is perfectly possible that we would be within the later stages of this as a wave 5 to the upside. I have to say, what we can identify in terms of structure internally, not ideal at all, but this is what we have available. I cannot dismiss the possibility of this turning into the wave 3 itself. The momentum could be suggesting it to be the case. Now, it is mostly due to this gap within this extended wave 5 that is creating this momentum indication that it is still increasing. It could be the case that this would be an internal 1-2 setup, and that is actually the reason that I want to provide you an even more internal level of support for a potential wave 4, and we just have to watch these levels to manage to eventually identify the count this structure is following. So I will be tracking here a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 within a potential extended wave 3, in fact. And based on this structure, the levels of support would start much higher at $90.6. Now, the purpose of what we are tracking currently isn't to look necessarily for a trade setup, but rather to identify the correct count, because a trade setup would present itself afterwards, after we have more clarity on this chart, because right now, even if we are to look for a position within this wave 4 in yellow, we would still need to allow the correction to extend as low as the wave 4 in green, in fact, which would again represent a quite high percentage of risk we would need to assume for a potentially quite low percentage of profits. Now, this is actually where it becomes a lot more interesting, because within the internal structure, I am looking at what would be a 5-way move to the upside, where I'm actually quite confident in this structure. And here, I would of course be tracking yet another impulse where we would have a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, a wave 3 up, and we have been looking in the previous video for a wave 4 correction into this support zone we have here in blue. Well, we have gotten there, and we have even extended directly higher, and we have only done so within a 3-wave structure. Well, what I believe happened here is that we have built a triangle within this as a wave 4. I can actually showcase the structure here. This would have been an A, B, C, D, E pattern, and then now we would be building the wave 5 to the upside, where the wave 5 itself would be extended. This wave 5 would be an impulse, and once we have a more substantial top within it, we can expect a quite substantial top either in yellow or in green at that point. I cannot guarantee that it will work out in this way, that this will not turn itself into a wave 3 and extend even higher. That is a perfectly acceptable possibility, but I do not find that to make this structure worthy of a trade setup. Again, there is just plenty of risks. There are many, much better opportunities in the market. And within this structure, I'm seeing a quite steep slope that might not be able to be sustained for long. So I'm tracking here, again, an impulse, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And sure, within this internal wave 5, I might like to form one more high, but I'm also watching this lower boundary trend line. We have from this wave 2, we have within it like 3, actually 4 touch points, and I actually believe this to potentially be a quite useful indication of a more substantial top forming within this development. Now, at this stage, within this wave 5, I would like to track an internal 5-way move to the upside, where this would have been a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. But I'm not ruling out the possibility that this wave 4 had actually bottomed here, and the wave 5 would already have a top in place. In any case, I would be watching this trend line for the first indication that a breakdown would be occurring. And in terms of support, I'm watching here the 50% retracement for direct continuation to higher prices. So I'm watching the levels between $98.5 down to $96.3, against which I would like to form one more high within the wave 5 of the wave 5 of the wave 5 and so on. And yeah, this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, where the wave 4 could have very well already bottomed and really doesn't need any further extensions for a bottom to be in place. And for now, these are the levels I'm watching. Again, ideally, we would form one more high within this wave 5, but we are looking at quite substantial risk on this chart. If we want, we can even take a look at the RSI, see if we can identify the divergences for this structure actually showing signs of a wave 5 building. And yes, these are actually quite strong signals of this being a wave 5. We see internally within this structure, higher highs on the price chart, lower highs on the RSI. We see within the larger time frame, higher high on the price chart for the wave 3 of the wave 5 itself, and lower high on the RSI. Now, we can actually identify that even within the 1 hour time frame, which is probably more appropriate for this overall structure. But on the 4 hour time frame, we actually see signs of the momentum still building. I wouldn't take it for granted, especially for this smaller time frame structure. I wouldn't go beyond the 1 hour time frame. It seems appropriate for this development to track it within this time frame in terms of divergences. And for now, these are the levels we need to watch out for. I'm wary of the support zone, I'm wary of the trend line. Sure, this pattern could turn still into something even more bullish, but at this point in time, the risk is substantial. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership. And for now, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.